Hello and welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is American Ben. Listen, I feel like things might have gotten just a little bit carried away in the course of doing this Strongest Alien series. The demagoguery against aliens has to stop, so that humans aren't led to do horrible things to the Xenos when in fact they do show up. I want to be more responsible with my words, and so from here on out, I endeavor to promote peaceful tactics in dealing with aliens. And if you out there are another peace-loving individual with compassion and decency, go ahead and comment down below and let me know that you stand with me. I'll give you a second to do that. Done? Great. Thanks for revealing yourselves, you human-betraying, Xeno-loving scum. Your information is going to be forwarded directly to the UNSC's Office of Naval Intelligence. As the Humanity First Codebook states, human compassion towards non-human ETs is weakness and will lead to catastrophe wherever it happens. Be compassionate towards your fellow humans, but do not spend the energies of your heart on the Xeno. Even if the Xeno is incapacitated, injured, and/or dying, the Xeno is a dangerous enemy. Kill it, by any means necessary. See, aliens will not show you the same mercy you intend to show them. The humans in the Halo universe didn't ask for war after war with the Xeno scum, but they got it anyway because the Xeno is violent. Today we are going to cover the flaws and advantages of the Covenant, one of humanity's most bitter enemies. Please remember, if you enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We start with the advantages. There are problems endemic to Covenant society, but they do have an organized system of governance and hierarchy of power that for the most part allows the species that make up the Covenant to avoid total disarray. At the top of Covenant society is the High Council, which is responsible for legislative, executive, and judiciary power. Below the High Council there is the Council of Concordance, responsible for enforcing public decency as the Ungoi have been known to urinate in the streets, the Council of Deed and Doctrine, a religious body, and the Council of Masters, which consists of the highest ranking individuals in the Covenant Navy. Now yes, the Sanshayum and Sanghili make up almost the entirety of the ruling authority on these councils, as they are the highest and second highest caste respectively. So not all voices are represented, but compared to many other alien societies, there is still much better organization of power, which lets them direct their society effectively, at least towards its militaristic goals. Covenant weapons aren't perfect, but they are very effective, varied, and certainly much more advanced than the weapons available to alien species like arachnids and xenomorphs who boast only biological weapons. The Covenant use some pulse laser, particle beam, antimatter, and chemical crystal-based weapons, but for the most part their weapons arsenal consists of plasma-based weaponry. Their plasma weapons are highly effective against human enemies, despite having some overheating issues. They also enjoy the benefits of certain melee weapons that are so lethal that they are practical in firearms-based combat, such as the Energy Sword, a fitting Xeno weapon. As the Humanity First Codebook states, to know whether or not an alien will stab you in the back, ask yourself, do you have a back? The Covenant also have highly advanced anti-gravity vehicles. Built from a special purple metal that is superior in strength to any elements that humans have at their disposal, their vehicles are often faster than that of the UNSC, and thanks to the anti-grav tech, are more stable on rough terrain as well. The pride of the Covenant army is, of course, their ships. The Covenant fleet has tens of thousands of ships in its ranks of many different shapes, sizes, and types, from carriers to destroyers to cruisers to support ships. Their ships wield all sorts of terrifyingly powerful weapons as well, including pulse lasers, turrets, plasma torpedo launchers, and a variety of planet-cracking weapons known as energy projectors. Defensively, Covenant ships are some of the strongest as well, often being fortified with nanolaminate plating, armor strong enough to stop many UNSC naval weapons, and additionally, Covenant ships have energy shields protecting their exteriors, which are some of the strongest energy shields any alien navy has to offer. Perhaps the pride of the Covenant Navy is their CSO-class supercarrier, a 95,000-foot-long capital warship that rivals the best ships in any space navy. Faster-than-light travel capabilities is an important part of assessing any alien navy's strength. We haven't focused on it as much during this series because we are covering alien races and species in general, and many of the aliens we've looked at so far don't have particularly superior FTL technology. But the Covenant do. Actually, they have very nearly mastered it. If you don't know, factions in Halo use slipstream space for FTL travel, an alternate dimension of space-time from real space. For travel through slipspace, you need a slipspace drive, and in the case of the Covenant, they have a really good one that allows Covenant ships to avoid suffering from the temporal fluidity that human ships do. As we've explained before on this channel, Covenant ships can cut a very fine hole in the fabric of space-time, enter slipspace at a precise point, execute a series of micro-jumps through slipspace, and exit slipspace at a precise point in time. This allows the Covenant to travel through interstellar space at a rate hundreds of times faster than humans, and most likely faster than most alien empires as well. Superluminal communication is another very important aspect of any space navy, but in this series there hasn't been much to rave about so far. But yet again, the Covenant have achieved mastery in this regard. The Covenant have designed something called the Proselytization Network. In this system, the Covenant installs communication relays on some of their ships and planets that enable communication between them. These relays transmit messages automatically from ship to ship or ship to planet immediately upon a ship's arrival or departure from a star system. And with all the ships in the Covenant fleet, this means rapid communication across their entire empire. The system is called the Proselytization Network because another benefit of the system is that Covenant prophets stationed on High Charity, the now former Covenant mobile capital city, can communicate with their armies across space and ensure their continued obedience. Okay, so there is no High Charity anymore, so it's debatable as to whether or not it should be listed here. But if it was built once, it can probably be built again, at least equal to what it was before, given that the Covenant cannot innovate, only mimic, but more on that later. Anyway, High Charity was a massive space station that serves as the Covenant's capital city, religious center, and as home for billions of Covenant aliens. The 314-mile-high, 216-mile-around station was powered by the engines of the decommissioned Forerunner Dreadnought. And though it was a massive target for enemies to hit, as it was mobile, it was still better than a planet for a capital, and it was combat capable itself. It had weapons built into its bedrock with firepower surpassing that of even the most powerful Covenant ships. It was armed with 32 super heavy plasma lances, 1,900 plasma beam emitters, and multiple types of energy projectors. Then, it was further guarded by a rapid detection network of slipspace probes that could track even the smallest objects coming into close proximity of the city and mark them for obliteration. And if that's not enough, the station was protected by some of the biggest fleets in the Covenant Armada. High Charity was a truly protective location for the Covenant for a long period of time, until the Flood infested it and humans blew it up. I love when humans blow stuff up. You know, if we don't blow ourselves up first, I have high hopes for the blowing up we're going to do of alien planets in the future. This is the point of humanity first, people. We're trying to avoid the self-own so we can get to the fun stuff. Let's kill aliens in peace together. Alright, we can't go on like this talking well of these Xenos that have long waged war against human society any longer. It's time to talk about their flaws. First off, the Covenant don't have much in the way of a rational society founded in logical decision-making. Their entire culture is based on worshipping the Forerunners. Now, I concede that some of the most intelligent alien races, including the Protoss and Eldar, have strong religious principles. Religion can encourage devotion in followers, give them a higher purpose to fight for, a feeling that their cause is in the name of something metaphysical, and elicit an unmatched ferocity on the battlefield. But in Covenant society, faith is a way for the political elites to control the Covenant masses. In the Covenant government, the only thing above the three San Shayum hierarchs is a Forerunner artificial intelligence known as the Oracle that is supposed to bless any new hierarchs before they are appointed. But the Oracle didn't speak for over 1,000 years at one point. So the truth is that the hierarchs rule over everything and speak for the so-called Forerunner gods, manipulating all of Covenant society through religious deceit. From the top down, the Covenant Empire is riddled with bribery, blackmail, lies, and other corruption. The Covenant masses believe they are fighting for the honor of their gods, but truthfully, they are only fighting for the political interests of the elite classes in their society. It may be true that this has produced a powerful militarized society, but also one that, while maintaining an appearance of organizational structure, is poisoned, fractured, and falling apart at the seams. This flaw might come as somewhat of a surprise to you given the superior technology we've already discussed, but in the long run, Covenant technology is not an advantage at all. See, all of their technology is imitative instead of innovative. They simply reversed engineered Forerunner artifacts to produce their advanced technology. Additionally, religious doctrine prevents them from investigating the ways in which the Forerunners were able to create their technology. So while they have weapons and chips way more advanced than that of the UNSC, they don't know how to improve or evolve any of their tech or innovate from their own ideas. Their tech is advancing at a much slower rate than that of humans and eventually will be surpassed. Again, Covenant society is well organized, but isn't really a society that is well built to bring out the best in its subjects. The Covenant piously believe in working for the Empire and sharing goods among all. The reward for such devotion, after all, as they are told, is salvation. Yet like any good communistic society, the reality is much more bleak, with a rigid caste system holding down the lower species and discriminatory behavior of upper-class Covenant denizens towards those of lower classes being pervasive. Many of the lower Covenant species were actually inducted into the Covenant through capture and enslavement. These captured species are then forced to adopt the Covenant religion, and their labor is exploited in various ways. Thus, the flaw here is twofold. First, there are questionable loyalties at the lower levels of Covenant society, with the maltreatment of such species, leaving the door open for unrest and rebellion, and just generally a population that doesn't much care for the cause. And secondly, the oppression of lower species means that Covenant society is not fully commoditizing the skills and talents of its lesser subjects, or letting individuals from such species reach their potential in a free society. On one hand, this isn't terrible for simply creating a warlike society, but on the other, as it operates, it's hard to believe the Covenant Empire can ever truly flourish. Finally, just as their technological innovation is lacking, so too is their innovation of strategy. Whereas the technologically inferior humans have been forced to carefully map out their battle plans and have had to constantly outthink and outsmart their enemies in order to just survive, let alone achieve victory, the Covenant have not been forced to be as creative in war. I don't want to give any absolutes here, but Covenant tactics are very straightforward for the most part. They stand their ground and fight to the death, hoping their superior weapons and ships will prevail. This is why the UNSC has repeatedly been able to defeat Covenant forces. Their leaders have constantly been successful in outthinking their Covenant counterparts. And as human technology improves, the Covenant will only find themselves losing more and more often. Okay, my friends, it's time to rank the Covenant on a scale of 1 to 5. Please click in the top corner in order to do so. And let me know down in the comments below what you think of the Covenant and what you think about what I included in this video or didn't include. Remember to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. For now, my name is American Ben, and I'll catch you next time. Generation Films, peace.